So what I want, Kathy's going to do a little presentation on our financial calculator because I want you to have a foundation for some of the things that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the conference. So that.
Okay, I was in corporate world, ran finance department, and when I went back to school to get my master's, I finally inherited this. So this is the 12C. You guys are all going to look at the 10B, but it is the rite of passage when you get into finance to be able to run this calculator. So after I got a corporate world, did flips and things in real estate, didn't use this that often till I got back engaged with Don, and I said, okay, now I've got to figure out how to do notes. What does it mean? How do I accumulate money? How do I discount it because I want to buy what my yield is? So that's how I started back into this. So you guys all know this passage. If you receive, because money today is worth more than money tomorrow, right? And why is that? Let's go through some analysis as to why that is. You can spend it today, you can save it today, or you can earn interest on it. That's what I wanted to do. Had money sitting in my Roth IRA, earning what? Not much. Market took a turn. What happened to my money? It took a turn also. So I started to realize, pull out this critter and start running some numbers, buy some notes, figure out what my yields. Take control of my money today. Okay? So if you have the money today, you can invest it now. And that's what we're all trying to do it. If you have it sitting in an account, earning just 1-2%, it's not earning. It's actually being eaten up by inflation. So you've got to get it working. That's all our goals, is to get our money working today. Okay. Why does money have time value? Anybody know that answer? Why does it have time value? What does that mean? It means that if I offer you $10,000 today, or I offer you that $10,000 to you 10 years from now, which one do you want to have?
Today.
Today. Right. Because $10,000 in the future is going to be less than what you have today. It is up to risk. How many of us went through the crash? I've been through 3 cycles of real estate. And what happened to my money? 60% value in my California properties were hit. In what, a year and a half? Okay, that is because that money went down into the tube. So money today is much more important if you can invest it and you can make it work for you. We have no risk with money today. The risk is in the future. So you have to understand what you want that money to do and build it in up front. Okay, sorry. All right, money today has a higher purchasing power because it equates to what you're buying. So if you're buying that $200,000 property, that's what it's worth today. So you can say, I can put that money there today. But what is it going to be in the future? Could take another 60% hit. It could be worth $400,000. Don't know. So you've got to be able, it has higher purchasing power today. And the opportunity cost of money. That was a big one for me. What do I need to have it work for me so that I have more income coming in than I'm spending? That's my opportunity cost. That's when I know when I have a deal, this thing sings to me, says that's a deal you want to buy because I understand what my opportunity costs are. You might have a different number. Doesn't matter. Just we're going to figure it out what it is today. Easy concept. We all know about if we put $1 in the bank, doesn't earn much, but it earns something. That's considered compounding. Money goes in that direction. 10,000 today, 2 years from now is worth 12,100. Not much, but still, it's money compounding. We understand that if you put money away in the bank, you know that. Now I'm going to throw a curve on you. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. So compounding is the future value of a sum of money in a series of payments made over time. That's all. That's all what compounding is. All right. What the world is discounting? What does that mean? Discounting is money moving backwards. Think about that. It's money moving backwards. But that $12,000 you saw a minute ago, what was it worth day one? $10,000. All that is money moving backwards. Same example. So if you want $12,100 2 years from now, you have to invest $10,000 today. Okay? That's all that means. So discounting is just the reverse of compounding. This is what, if you get this one concept today, you will be able to buy notes feeling safe that you know what you're doing. Because you're going to be buying in the discounting world. So you want something that is going to pay you in the future. What are you going to pay today for it? Okay? Before we get started, now we're going to pull this little critter out. What do all this stuff mean? What buttons on here do you need to understand and use? The first of 5 basic buttons is the period. That's the N. That says, is it a 30-year note, which is 360 payments a month? Is it a 10-year note? That's what that is. That is the period. The next is the rate, income, or yield, interest rate. And that's the I on your calculator. And we'll locate that in a minute, okay? Present value, that's today's dollars. That's all that means is present value. Payments is the periodic payment over time. In a loan, it's your monthly payment. The last, future value. Okay? What will the money be worth in the future? Now, all right, here's your calculator. This is the one most of you have. All right, that's the 12. Okay. This little circle up here on the 10, this is the buttons that you're going to relate to. Here is a plus and minus, and I'll tell you why you need that. And here is what's called a shift key. The shift key, each one of these buttons has multiple functions. All right? When you see the blue up here, that means you're using this shift key. Most of the time, you're going to use the orange shift key, and we'll go through what that means. But if you look at your app on your phone, does it show up real well on the app on the phone, the different buttons? Anybody have one on there? Yeah. Okay. All right. The same with the 12. The 12 has the numbers in the blue relate to the G. The numbers in the F relate to the orange. This top row, if you master that, that's all you need to know for notes, at least for now. Until you get somebody like Walter up here or Quincy that does a twist on you, right? Right. But for right now, that's all we're going to go through. All right. Okay. Basically, here is one concept that you have to have consistency in time. What does that mean? I was just saying earlier to Wayne, if you buy a note that pays off monthly, you must make sure that your payments are expressed monthly and also excuse me, that your interest is expressed monthly. So when you go get a note from the bank says, or even a private lender says, 12% interest. What does that mean per month? 1% per month. You have to be sure that your time, your consistency of time is equal. So when you calculate it in the calculator, there's a way you put it in so that it breaks it down to a monthly equation. So instead of seeing 12%, you'll see 1% on your calculator. Instead of seeing a payment that's annual, you'll see it monthly. And the same holds true when you're looking at term. So if I say to you it's a 30-year note, you have to translate that to 360 payments a month. Okay. Cash flows in and out. Your calculator is going to need one negative number because that's the way it knows it's money out. So if I'm buying a note from Dawn, I'm going to give her cash. So I place that, that's today's dollars, so I'm buying it. I make that present value a negative number. If you happen to be running something on your calculator and the 10B gets you a no solution, I'm going to probably say that you have one of your values in there that's not negative. So when you go home and start to work some of these problems that you have here today, realize that if you get a non-solution, it probably means you just haven't put a negative value in. If you're solving for something that has payment, that could pop up as a negative value. But it just has to have your inflows are positive, your outflows are negative. If you get that, you'll be able to run the calculator pretty easily. Okay. All right. Here's where I was, lived in California for a long time. Went to South Carolina. I dropped a 0 on every one of my pies. It was kind of nice. So I'm going to give you typical South Carolina numbers, but you can add a 0 for you California people. It doesn't really make a difference. They still all are the same. Okay? An investor wants to buy a note. The investor says that it was created 3 years ago. It is $60,000. 7.75%, 12 years, and your payment. The purchase of the property, the value of the property is $85,000. This example I'm going to use it 3 or 4 different ways for you. But we're going to stay with this example so you stay kind of consistent. All right, now, come on. There you go. The first thing I do when someone wants to sell me a note is I verify it. What I do is rerun all of those numbers. So in N, I'm putting term in. So if I have a 12-year note, 12 times 12 is 144 payments. That goes in it. Interest rate, 7.5. Got to divide that by 12. Or in the case of the 10BII, you can just put it into I/YR. And you should see in your display 0.625. All right? Present value, what am I going to pay for this? I'm going to pay $60,000. What are the payments? That's what I solve for. And the reason I do see a lot of notes in South Carolina that are incorrect. That usually what people do in South Carolina, they'll say, George, what can you afford a month? George says, I can afford $600. Okay, that's your payment. And then they figure out, well, $600 rounded interest rate is 8%. Rounded interest rate? Have you ever gone to the bank and ever said, round my interest rate? No. It has multiple decimals out there. So I go and try to buy this note, and I go, what did you do with the extra principal? Extra principal? What are you talking about, extra principal? And I go, because this doesn't round. So I always, the very first thing to do is I verify the note. So this note, does this note tie out? This note ties out. The payment is exactly what they said it was. That's my first step. Very simple.
Kathy, I have a question.
Yes.
When you get a note and you find that there was over the principal and interest payment, do you do a principal reduction?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So what she's asking, usually I put it into t-value, and I rerun the amortization schedule. And I said, okay, here is our unpaid balance we're working with today. And so then that's where we start from. Yeah, I do. Yes.
Just so there's a little glitch in there.
Yep.
Your example says 7 3/4, but you calculated on 7.5.
Darn. Thank you, Dennis.
7.5 works, 7 3/4 doesn't.
Sorry. I love the, thank you. The civil engineer, thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Probably, I think what I did, and I do this typically, I work these problems out and then I put the word problem to it. You are absolutely right. I probably worked the problem. Okay. So put 7.5 there instead of 7.35. Thank you very much, Dennis. All right. All right, the loan is correct. So now what do I do? Now my next step is determine the unpaid balance. And so how do you determine the unpaid balance? Anybody got a clue?
Click on the amortization schedule.
Well, you could. Or you could say, how many years were paid on time? 3 years. And so the first thing I'm going to determine is what the unpaid balance of 3 years is. Forget the second sentence because we'll get to that one, all right? So determine the unpaid balance. Use future value method. There's 2 ways you can do it. I'm going to give you the first one. So if 3 years have been paid, times 12 is 36 payments. 7.5% stays the same. I don't have to change that. 60,000, no different, same thing. Payment still remains the same. All I got to do for solve is future value. That's it. That gives me my unpaid balance as 36 payments that have been determined.
Are you guys able to follow this with the
Yep.
HP10 that you just downloaded?
Nope. All right. All right. All right.
We need
Okay.
to go big.
All right, so clear what you got. All right, everybody got clear? Oops, sorry. Okay. All right, no, let's leave
I
that.
wanted to bring this up on the side,
Okay. Yep, okay,
because then we can do it kind of at the same time, right?
all right. Very good. She's going to help. Nice easy button. All right,
We get a copy of these slides too, like in especially.
you certainly can.
Yeah, oh, cool.
It's just a
Absolutely,
slight
absolutely.
discount for that. Just for you, Bo.
Okay.
All right. She's going to put it in. She's going to clear her calculator. All right. So she's going to put,
both,
yeah. So put your, you could just put 36 in, or you're going to put 3 times 12. which way are you going to do it?
Well, I just, I'll do
Yeah.
that part, man.
All right. See what she did? She just put, yeah, and then hit N. That's your term. Okay.
And
Then-
payments per year is 12, so we know it's set to the.
Right. And I meant to say that to Wayne. I mentioned to Dwayne. Okay. If you have a 10B II, this is important, guys, because your 10B II is already set to 12. So when you put in the 7.5, you take it to interest rate, your display should show 0.625. So put 12 in. 1, 2.
What's our interest rate, 7.5%?
I'm sorry, 7.5. Sorry, I screwed you. Okay,
So
right
for
here.
me, I just do this, and then I enter it here.
Yes, but that's right. Yours doesn't do. HB does the display differently. You're right. Okay, so that's 7.5% for the year. All right, that's all you have to do. Don't. Okay, now put 60,000 and hit your plus minus and take it to PV. You're going to put 7.5 into IY. That's right, and then put 60,000. Hit your plus negative. Take it to present value. All right, look at Don's example. Yeah, right here, right there, right under the K.
And then you hit payment.
Yeah, and then put your payments in there, right? Hit payment. And it should be 63314. Payment.
Wait, what happened here?
I don't know.
Oh, see, I have the same payment you have. I was like, I have a really.
No. No. Did you take the? All right, let me see what's on my calculator. I got to take my HP out. Oh, because you got 36. Take it back to 144.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I forgot the original
Yeah.
amortization.
Yeah, the original. When we're on second step, you have to have the original amortization is. That's why. So 144, 60,000. Yeah. 7.5% interest. Your payment should go about 6.13. 63314 or 1358. You got that one now? Which one?
When we have these numbers, we have equals, it'll give us that one.
No. Did you put this into N? Put that into N. Okay. And you already have the negative 60 in? All right. Now just hit your. There you go.
So and
No, I put the payment in.
Okay. Now, all right.
Future value.
Correct. Now what do you have to change? You have to change it to 36 because that's what's been paid to term versus the 144. Right? Put that into N. Now solve for future value. Just hit the future value. Yep. There you go. All right.
So any of these, you leave empty, and then when you're done,
All right.
you hit that one, and it'll show you.
Okay, what Pat asked a really important question. When you have solved for the original note, what are you changing? Are you changing payment? No. Are you changing the face rate of the note? No, 60,000. What are you changing? Just term. That's all you're changing. 144 was there, you're putting and replacing it with 36. Then you just hit FV for future value. That will give you your unpaid balance. She's going, no. No. All right, let's go. All right. Let's clear it first. Okay. 144 was your original note, right? 60,000. That's into PV. So that's, yes, because it has to have a negative number in it, right? And our interest rate was 7.5 into Y. Here's your payment, right? That's your original note. Now put 36 in. Put 36 into N. 36, you just override it into N. Solve for F. Yes, you have to start with the original note. That's why when I say you verify it, it means that's where you're starting from. All you're looking at is what's changed. The original, you're not changing your payment.
Put in the original, and then you put 36.
Right, because what are you trying to solve for? You're trying to say, let me get back up there so I'm up in front. How much is left on this note after 3 years? Right? So let's get you. Yes.
No, like, but this is what, you can do it this
If
way
you're
too,
doing,
right?
that's in present value. You're thinking of the present, I'm going to give that, doing that next. You're saying 3 years have expired. What is the value of that in the future? That's when you did, that's the, what am I, where is, yes. Yes.
I could get it 2 ways.
You can get it 2 ways. You can get,
Well,
you
here-
can, that's present value. I'll show you the next one. We're just doing future value first as being a way to
so
solve
if
this.
This is remaining payments, and now it's in future value. But
Yeah.
if I put it in,
If you subtract it, 108,
could you see it? Oops.
yeah. We're going to go next to that one, Dawn.
Present
All right.
value.
Everybody got that or
Then-
to that?
Then I just hit
No, okay. All right. Okay.
Can you help?
Yes, I can. Okay. Let's,
So we clear this and start?
yeah, clear. Yeah, so do your clear. There you go. All right, clear. 144 into N. Okay, right. 7.5 into IY. Okay, and then 7.5 into IY. That's your interest rate.
7.75.
No, it's 7. I made the mistake. In the chart, it should be 7.5. Correct, okay? 60,000. Just key that in for a minute. Stop. Hit them plus minus. Take that to PV. PV. That's present value. Now solve for payment. Just hit P. There you go. Now you got payment. That's the original note. All right? Now you can change to make it 36. Put it into N. 36 to N. Solve for F. That's your unpaid balance.
Hey, Gail, show me.
Okay?
Show Laurel.
Okay? Into N. And that's it. Now put 7.5 into IY. Oh, we don't have something. Something's wrong. You did go to N. That's all. Okay. Into to IY. That's your interest rate. Put in 60,000, but take it negative. So put the 60 first. Key it in. 2, 3. Hit your plus minus. Take it to PV. Solve for payment. Just hit P. Just hit payment. Yeah. Okay. Now that's your payment. That's your original note. Now what's changed? 36 months is what you're trying to figure out what the unpaid balance. Take 36. Yeah. Put 36 into N and solve for F value. FV. That's your unpaid balance.
You might want to point out on HPs that they're backwards, the note.
I know.
Because I've always been an HP fan.
Yeah.
But I haven't used HP in a lot of years because they're all fine.
Yeah.
But that might be one of the problems that people are missing.
Yeah. I'll ask them if they have the 12 because you're right.
But yeah, because you do it backwards.
They do it backwards. Yeah. All right. Everybody. Does everybody using the 10BII on their phones rather than the 12? Okay. Because we were just talking, Gail and I, the 12 has what's called reverse Polish in it, so you put everything in a little bit differently. But I use it. But you're right. If you're using the 10BII, these are the numbers how you get through that. Did everybody get to the unpaid balance now?
49,000 and change.
Yeah, 49,614. Yeah.
Okay, we just have a half hour, so I want
Okay.
you to
Okay.
get-
Okay. Now, so, all right, let's go to the next one. Oops. All right. Uh-oh, it's not going, Dawn. Okay. All right. Now, you want to buy this, right? This is where I am now. How can you determine unpaid balance? Oh, Dennis brought up this point. All right. There's 2 ways you can calculate unpaid balance. Depends on how you think of it. I like to use present value. Future value. Don likes to use present value quite a bit. Either way. Okay. If you're looking at present value, how many payments do you have left if you have 3 years past?
108.
108. All right. So you can take that, put 108 into N, put 0 into FV, because now you're not looking for future value. So in your calculators, before you do, put 0 and take it to future value and solve for present value. That is the same number. Same number. So it's either one you're comfortable with. If someone says to you it's been paid for 3 years, you want to find the future value, that's what you put in. If you know all the remaining payments, put that in. Make sure your future value is 0 and solve for present value. We will give you these slides, so you will go home with it. Yeah, so you can see that. Yes?
Okay, so I've done a couple examples.
Mm-hmm.
I can change these numbers, but how do I delete them all? Like this clear doesn't clear out.
We won't delete them because we're going to use this example throughout, but you do a clear all, and that clear all is the shift orange to the clear. Yeah. All right. That takes everything out of the calculator. However, because we're going to shift on you several times, you don't want to take that original note out. All right. So I'm going to tell you when to take, like in this case, we made future value 0, and we solved for present value.
And you like this as a negative, right? I did that back.
I know, I always do it as a negative. Okay, balance is still the same. So what are you buying? What are you negotiating on? Are you negotiating on the $60,000? No, you're negotiating on that $40,000, $49,000. That's where your starting point is. All right. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It won't go away. All right. Well, good. All right. Go back up. No, we're gonna. Let's see. What is this one? Okay. Up above. I think one more. Okay. Now you want to buy this note. What do you want to buy it at? 10%, right? So now what are you going to buy that future value at 10%? What is going to be your asking price? What is your present value on that? What are we replacing? We're replacing what? We're replacing just the interest rate. Everything else stays the same. Amount of payments don't change. Put 10% into your interest rate and solve for present value. That's what you would pay for that note based on a 10% interest rate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that $49,000, you're paying $44,000 for it. Why?
I got 44,971.53.
4 what?
44,971.53.
It could be rounding. It also could be if your calculator is not set to end or beginning. Well, but anyway, when you get home, go and check out your book or go and find it. Mortgages are always considered at end value because they're paid in arrears. So, okay, then you're good. It's just a rounding. And it's the way your machine just truncates it. It's close enough to, with your a couple dollars, you're fine. All right? Yep. Yep. So it's just because I always take mine out 4 digits because I like to see it. But yeah, you're just taking it to 2. So today I would pay $44,971 for that note if I wanted a 10% return. That's all. That's all that's saying. All right? Okay, let's go on to the next. Because I wanted to have a 10% yield. All right. So in the case, what we're talking about here is, here's a couple things that, and Dawn's, in fact, if you have not signed up for her calculator class, please do, because she does a wonderful job of taking you through these numbers all the time. And you'll be able to test this. So she has a transaction calculator, right? Yeah. And that, yeah, right. And it's really a good thing. Now, when I look at a note, now I want to determine what is that loan to value. Is this a safe note for me or not a safe note for me? So I look at the loan to value. In this particular case, what was the original market value on this property? 85. All right. So if I use the unpaid balance and I divide that from 85, that means that the homeowner in this property is at about 58%. That's a pretty safe loan, I think, because he's got a lot invested, a lot of equity in this house. That's a good thing.
Assuming the equity's there.
Assuming, well, I would test the equity, right? Wouldn't you? You're going to run a market value.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to run a current market value. See if you agree with that. All right. The other is, what is my risk? What does an investment to value look like? All right, the investment to value is what I'm going to put in that note to the market value. All right? And in this case, I'm going to be at 52%. That gives me a safe note. This is a note I'm interested in now. So what I just gave you, the two calculations, once I've run my yield, I run my loan to value and my investment to value. Because investment to value, I like, because can't make the money up like I used to, I like to be no more than 65% investment to value. So this tells me I'm at 52%, 53%. That's a good note for me. Safe note, exactly. And why is it safe?
Well, you have to look at worst case, you have to take the property back.
Exactly. If I have to take the property back, can I fire sell it? Yeah, I can.
Have we ever heard of properties falling more than 35%?
Yeah.
Occasionally, oh yeah. Yeah,
You ever heard of that?
Nevada,
yeah.
Nevada 2007 and 8.
Try California, 60.
Yeah. Has a property worth 500 ever become worth less than 250?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Reno, Nevada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Las Vegas.
yeah. But let me tell you something. Did it recover? Did it recover?
Yes.
Yes.
We're still under the peak.
Well, but if you bought it at this income to value or loan to value, you're probably okay. You can hold off for those couple of years you have to hold off if you didn't want to sell that note. But if you're buying face value on that, you know, like I have investors say, but it has a face value of $100,000. Why aren't you paying me that? Are you crazy? I mean, that's my 100% invested. I'm not doing that.
Unless it was a 50% loan to value start.
Yeah, exactly.
Conservative profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, run these. That's why you run these two calculations. You want to see what does the homeowner have invested, loan to value? What are you investing, investment to value? And if those numbers are comfortable for you, then you proceed and go on from there. Okay. Comps. You brought up a perfect point. I always verify my comps. Always. I don't take anyone's word for it. I get there what they think it's valued at, then I run my own comps.
Second opinions on comps.
Sometimes. I run my own. So I run Sidex. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It is Black Financial bought them over. It's nationwide. I can run comps anywhere.
I'm sorry, what was it called?
It's called Sidex, or it's actually owned by Black Knight. No, it's actually, I can get all the county records and find out what, yep. And I can actually see, I don't think I have a report here. I've sent some to Dawn before. But I can see loans that are on there. I can see all of it.
Is that residential, commercial?
Not commercial, just residential.
Because I know commercial's done differently.
Yes, it is. And yeah. So I can buy a note anywhere in the United States and I can run my own comp.
May I ask one more question?
I happen to have had this for 10 years, so I run $100 a month.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
a monthly, not a per.
Correct.
Get the ejection seat.
Yeah. And, sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
It was a good one.
So, does this company also do rural, or are they better at urban and suburban?
It depends on the county records.
Gotcha.
So again, in certain counties, rural, they're horrible.
Horrible.
They're absolutely horrible. You can't get the right. It's all based on county records. So if the deeds have been filed, you can see the amount of deeds. You can see first, seconds. You can see if properties turn. South Carolina is a very good state for what I call property churn. And so you investor and I investor go, how about if you buy this house from me for 60, then I'll buy it back from you later. There's a lot of churns. Well, I can start seeing his company name pop up 3 or 4 times out of that property. I know that value is false. I know that I have to dig deeper. So it gives me all prior owners of that property. Yes?
Do you have to have any sort of a license?
No. It's just it's a monthly service. Yeah, monthly service. You may or may not, you may check locally. We have a company that services South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. It's called Court Retrieval Service, but it doesn't do nationwide. So I keep my own service. But check and see in your local area who might be able to give you county record reports. And then you can also just get a hold of.
I think one thing that we'll do for this is like everybody here has here's how I check it. We're gonna make a big long list before
Okay.
we leave, so everyone has all this, okay? 'Cause
Yep.
I want it for my list.
Yeah.
Where's your calculator course? Is that an online course?
Oh, it's part of the membership, so
Yeah.
I do it once a month. It's just.
She does a very good job on it. You guys ought to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to become a citizen of the realm, sir.
And I'm one. I get to be one.
Become a citizen of the realm.
All right, you hit the next slide, Dawn. Yeah.
I'm trying to get my head around this cycle. Is it like a combination O&E with CMA? Because it sounds like you're getting leads.
I'm very close to the same thing a realtor can get. Very darn close. It comes out of a title company originally. Yeah, and so they run it very similar to a title company, and so I can get almost as I can isolate. I can actually take, if the comps aren't real, you know, like out in different neighborhoods, I can go ahead and select which ones, so I can run an accurate comp. And let me just say, in my area, that's extremely important. In the rural areas of South Carolina, you need to know subdivision. You need to know where you're buying, because if you think that the subdivision next to it is going to be your comp, quite often it's not. So I can take those out and then run an accurate comp. It's a good service. I think it's more expensive than 100 now. Yeah. So anyway, you'll get that. Okay. Okay. Crunching the numbers. All right. One of the things, I'm going to briefly go through this, but you can take it away from your slides. I like to look at how much the loan has been seasoned. Why do I like to look at that?
Security.
Security. Why is it security?
Because how much skin they have in the game, how many
Exactly.
payments they made, what their payment reflection.
If I'm not replacing that payment person, then I want to know that they can make payments on time. So that's why I look at seasoning. And also Dawn gave me I'm looking at a very unseasoned note right now that is going to be, my loan to value, investment value is way under 50%. That's why I'm interested. But I said to Dawn, I want to take it right off the closing table. She said, don't. And I go, why? She said, because you'll look like the originator. Don't want to look like the originator. So I'm making the investor take it for 6 months, and then I'll buy it. So that's.
6 months?
No, you didn't. You said at least a month.
At least one.
At least one payment.
One payment.
Yeah, but I'm going to have her hold it for 6. There's a reason beyond that. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I just went for 6 months. I am.
You eat this note.
I know. I eat this note for 6 months, and then I'll take it. But I did an offer to her, so she already has my number. But I'll buy it at.
Hope she doesn't shock you.
Oh, I know.
You only buy notes that are professionally serviced?
I'm going to actually have to move them over because this one I'm buying in my Roth, and I don't want to touch it.
No, like, but when you're buying a note from somebody, if it's not professionally serviced, is that a deterrent?
Not necessarily, no. But then I want to verify all the records. That's why I run the loan. I want to see what records you've had. I want to see the record. And if you have a bad record, then I'm going to recreate it in loan to value, and I'm going to do an estoppel letter.
Do you usually do cancel checks too, if you can?
Yeah,
Cancel
sure.
payments?
Yeah. In my area, I mean, these are rural guys. I mean, these people have been there a long time. It might be on a yellow pad that I see the amortization schedule. But if I can run it out and I can test it and that person says, yeah, that's my payment, that's what I owe, and they all agree with that, then I'm fine with that, as long as I can get good title.
And you get that done on an estoppel, so you have a proof and it's notarized?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you betcha. Because I don't want it coming back on me when I finally get it, right? So I want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You thought you bought a note with 50,000 and they've actually paid it down to 40.
Yeah, because sometimes these guys will pay extra principal, right?
And
Yeah.
then it's not reflected on what they
Yeah.
told you.
All right, all right. So that's why. Okay. Don, the next one. I guess you're going to have to forward and forward. Okay, that's right. That's right. You are my manual clicker. All right, let's do a new twist on this because I want to give you some examples of what discounting actually looks like. So we're going to keep this the same, where the investor wants to buy it today. I, however, want some more seasoning in this note. This is a brand new note, let's say. In this case, it didn't have 3-year term. Brand new note, same payments, but I wanted to hold it for a year before I take it. All right? So I want to determine what, based on a 10% yield, first 12 months, I want to be able to see what that looks like. So let's go to the next slide and we'll see what we have to put in the calculator to change. All right. First, again, verify the note. So if you don't have it in there, put it back in. 144 payments, 7.5, 60, and the payment should be 633. Yeah, 7.5 interest.
Wait, oh, am I going down too far?
Yes, you're going down too far.
Oh, so we're just here at this.
Yeah, we're at this level, thank you. Because we can make everybody have to make the same, okay? All right, so you should still have your payment. Everybody got that in their payment screen?
So can you read the number that
Yes, it's 144 in N, 7.5 into IY, 60,000 into present value, negative. Solve for payment.
And zero future value means just it's fully amortizing.
Yep, that's all.
Right, there's no balloon deal.
Yep. All right. What am I changing? I'm now going to buy this 12 months after 12 months seasoning, right? So now I have the remaining amount of payments is 132. Put that into your N. And solve for PV. That's my unpaid balance. That's where I start negotiating from. Because that's the unpaid balance after 12 payments on this note.
And a lot of notes are bid, well, what will you pay me? It's in percentage of like UPB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, 80
Unpaid
cents
balance.
of unpaid principal balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will they wait for 12 months? Will they season it for, will they make those payments?
It's up to you to negotiate it, isn't it?
Okay,
Because you're the
so-
buyer. So what if they say I won't? I'll only do 6 months. Put 6 months in there. You're still figuring out
But
what your unpaid
You
balance
can
is.
give them options too, like if you wanna, for 6 months, I'll pay it 70% or on the dollar, or
Yeah,
on the.
sure.
So I mean, that's cause you're taking a bigger risk.
Sure.
Or if you do a 2 or 3 payment, right, cause obviously it's not seasoned yet, so you
Right.
discount the note even more.
All you're trying to do is you want to see if the payer can pay on time for a period of time. If that investor has cleared that payer and they were going to have that note anyway, why wouldn't they season it for a while for you, right? So they should have cleared that person. The person should be able to make that payment. And so that's why I like to have 12. If I can't get 12, I'll go 6. Sometimes I'll buy it after 1. Depends on how good the deal is. It's a part of negotiation, that's all. But you've got to get to what your unpaid balance is, that's all. You're just figuring the new unpaid balance. All right, go to the next slide, Don. Okay. Now, based on your 10% yield and that unpaid balance, what are you going to pay for it? So you put your 10% into interest and you solve for PV. So you would be willing to pay $50,750 for that based on a 10% yield for the remaining 132 payments.
Is this just a practice or is this?
It is just a practice. No, and this is exactly how I think about it, though. Exactly how I think about it. Yeah.
You should always strive though for more than 10%.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
10% these are not
This is for
significant discounts.
passive investment.
Yeah,
out of your
exactly.
IRA,
Gotcha.
this is
Yeah. Do I want cash flow? And how easy is it for someone that has passive income to earn 10%?
Gotcha.
But
over time.
realistically, you know, if you need 14%, you're not gonna
No,
get
you're
that
not gonna
note.
get very
It's
many
too tight
notes.
For the
You're
good
gonna
stuff,
sell on
right?
the front end
Absolutely.
anyways to somebody that's even more passive than you and keep
Right.
your tail.
Yeah, exactly. You could do it that way, sure. Go ahead.
The normal
Sorry.
thought process isn't, oh, I'm only gonna pay 80% of what you're asking. You're actually looking for a yield is the more thought process.
Okay, what does the yield tell you? You've already got a discount, right? Have you created that discount? What's the unpaid balance? What are you buying it for? You're buying it at a discount. You've created your discount. If you need more than that, in my state of South Carolina, it runs about $5,000 for a foreclosure. If I need to go, you think I bill that $5,000 in front? You bet I do. So if that 10% yield is enough, then I'll buy it at less. I'll figure what this is. I'll take $2,000 or $3,000 more off of it. Why? Because I'm building in the foreclosure. Yeah,
So if I was trying to bring in somebody's IRA money,
yeah.
and so if they
You're
were
talking
good-
about arbitrage then, right?
Yeah, so if they were good at 10%, I could wrap that.
Yes.
If it was really a 14% note rate, then I could just make the spread.
Yeah. And who's my expert in that? That person right back there.
Who's that?
Walter.
Oh, that.
Walter. I'm only giving you the basics. Walter's
you
going to
already
do
showed
the
me.
major
You
twists.
showed me.
Yeah,
You showed me how to make
exactly.
right here on $100,000. I was only making $2,000. You showed me how to make $12,000.
But you first have to get that note verified to make sure you're comfortable, right? And you know if you have an investor at 10% that's happy, you bet you can wrap it.
But going back to your question,
Mm-hmm.
Drew, the first thing is safety. So investment to value or loan to value.
Right.
First, it's like you can do these calculator, but if that payment doesn't come in, it doesn't come, you don't
Yeah.
have any yield.
Yeah, you can't-
You
yeah.
want return of your principal
Right.
first, and then return on investment.
So one of the things that, and Dawn's always good about this when she goes through her calculator thing on the once a month, she'll say, well, how much are you actually going to earn over that period? Is that enough? Is that really what you want to do? And she'll make you think about what that return looks like for you. Because it's all about you having the safety, making sure that your money's working for you in a proper way, or that you've got another investor you're thinking of that you can sell it to and you can wrap it. So there's multiple ways you're going to hear about how to do that. All I'd like you to see is what discounting actually means. So when you get to that first number, then you can talk to Bo, then you can talk to Deirdre and say, okay, now we're going to run a real deal here. Just to know what you have to do, okay? So this is just an example for you to run through. Okay, go on to the next one. All right. Okay. Because payments will not start to 12 months from now, I need to discount the value of that, right? Because I'm not going to get the first 12 months. Who's going to get that? Seller is going to get that. So now I need to go to the next level. I need to be able to see what, in essence, my future value is going to be based on the fact I'm not going to buy it for 12 months. All right? This one gets everybody, including me occasionally.
So
when I'm
this
thinking,
is the value now, but we don't get that value for 12 months. So
That's right.
It's got to be discounted even more, right?
got to take a second discount to that because I'm not going to get the first 12 payments at
I
all.
understand, but so you're saying I'm gonna buy it today knowing you're.
No.
All I'm going to do is create an offer for it today.
Okay.
I'm only going to create an offer for it today based on it buying it 12 months from now.
Are you gonna get new comps?
No, not necessarily.
So you're gonna offer it, but in 12 months, and if she takes you out, it could be, you could have lost.
How many times over 12 months has that much of a value went out of their property? I don't get that paranoid. I look at, because again, what am I looking at? Investment to value, loan to value. Yeah, I'm only looking
And
at if,
especially if they've paid perfectly for 12 months, they're ahead of most new
yeah,
buyers.
right,
You're better seasoned on it already.
exactly.
Do you guys,
Yeah.
do you lock them in on a contract?
I do an offer up front.
You're gonna, and they sign it, notarize it, like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's just because I want to be able to, yeah, exactly. I want to be able to tie
It's
them
a
in.
smoking deal.
It's smoke a deal. You're going to do it, right? But you want to let it be seasoned. So now I got to figure out what really am I purchasing 12 months from now. So I'm discounting it a second time based on the 12 months that I didn't get.
Do you record an affidavit or anything to?
No, I don't in
I
South
mean,
Carolina.
that's usually enough of a deterrent for them
Yeah,
to say,
yeah.
oh, we're not selling it to you for this
Yeah.
discount.
Well, would I ever do business with that investor again? No. And would that investor get a certain name in my club? You betcha.
You would actually pay today.
No, I do have an example of that in here, but no. But I would do an offer today based on what I want to pay for it. All right? That's one.
How would you protect your position? You file a memorandum?
We were just talking about, I don't in South Carolina, but you certainly could. You could file it. We do a handshake in South Carolina. I learned that over 10 years.
They spit in
If
their
I
hand?
take, yeah. Because most of the investors I'm working with belong to my real estate club. And the moment they screw me, they screw the entire club. So, because would I let that be known? You betcha I would.
Very different now, so we wouldn't say that.
No, of course not. No, of course not. Okay. Anyway, all right. So now, what is, if I have a desired yield of 10%, now what am I buying? What is my purchase price? 12 months, 10%. Am I getting payments over that 12 months? No. So what do you need to do to payment? Take it to 0. Okay. Because I'm not going to get the first 12 payments. Solve for future value.
What happens if the market crashes and you don't want it anymore?
Well, that's a risk, isn't it? Because I'm looking 12 months. I will say more than likely in South Carolina, that's not a big hit. Now, in California, it could be, or Nevada. Yeah. So then you could build in something into that, okay? So now I'm solving for present value. Now I'm buying it at $45,776. So that's what my offer is. Based on the fact they get the first 12 and I get the remainder. Based on a 10% yield. Okay. Let's take another twist to this. You guys aren't done.
Come on, we'll have.
All right. Here. All All right. Okay, if I want to buy half the payment stream and half the unpaid balance, what do you think happens to the yield? I want you to figure out what it means to discount when you're taking half the payment and half of the unpaid balance. I want you to look at what happens to yield. Okay, so again, begin with the note exactly back to where it was, the original note. You can go to the next chart, Dawn. We'll go to, okay. Using present value, I determined the first 12 months. I returned present value, and that was at 56,793. There you go. Go to the next one. Okay, if I'm buying 66 payments, which is half of the 132, and I'm buying half the unpaid balance, which equals 28,396, what is my yield? What I just bumped this 10% up to?
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
That's a little better.
Yeah. All right.
And doesn't that sound reasonable?
It does.
I'll buy half the balance or half
Less
the
exposure,
payments.
more yield,
You betcha.
and that's the beauty of it.
Is the beauty of it. Learn this calculator. Learn how to split payments up. Learn partials, because that's the power. The power is in understanding how you can take money in the future and discount it to today and bump your yield.
Okay, that hurt my brain.
It hurts your brain.
Just taking half just means I get the same yield, but it doesn't, so I need why.
I know, because you're discounting it forward. You're bringing it into today. Yeah.
Because the next 66 payments are worth more than, there's more
And I'm going to
inflation
show you,
later.
before we
so
leave
the-
this,
the
Drew,
ones that
I'm
are
going to show
sooner.
you why. Okay? All right. Yeah, maybe we'll go to that quicker than I think we'll go to it. All right. Just want you to realize you can twist these. A twist is just saying, how can I improve my yield? What if 10% is enough, but that's what the seller needs?
So if I just took on a partner, we just split, it's like, oh, just split it, not instantly.
Well, what happens when you go to talk to a seller and you're buying notes and you say to them, I'm not going to give you that face value for that note. I'm only going to give you, instead of you seeing 59,000, I'm only going to give you 49. I don't want to give up $10,000. Say, okay, well, what if you keep half the payments and half the balance of the note, and I keep half? Does that person run that calculator realize I just bumped my yield up? No, but you did. I'll show you in the end. The last example will show you exactly why that happens. I'm a witch! I love it! Now, if you do that with a quarter of the payments, do you want to believe how much your yield goes up? It goes up 4 times. 4 times. So why would you buy the whole thing? Why would you buy the whole thing? It could be because you just want the income coming in 10% for the next, 200 years, whatever you got to do it, right? That'd be fine. A lot of people look at that. Think that's fine. But not me. I want to increase my yield. Right? All right. So go to.
I messed up, sorry. I do this all the time.
I know you should know this
And
by
I
heart.
redo. Is that a negative on the payment value?
No.
Well, there's 2 ways to do it. Like, I always put this positive no matter with money in and out, and I always do. So, but this is how you get used to it, but you have to have at least one.
You have to have one value and then it's negative. That's all. All I want you guys to see is once you get to use this calculator and understanding discount, now you have more negotiating power. Because when you go to another investor, I mean another investor, these are people in my club that have no idea what they've created, 0. And they say to me, but I can't live with that discount, you want too much. I said, okay, what if I just take a quarter of the payments and a quarter of the unpaid balance? Okay, that would work for me. Okay, I will. Yeah, and I run with it. Absolutely works every time. You need to find a way to get that seller to work with you. And if you tell them discounting, their eyes are going to glaze over and go, I have no clue what you're talking about. So just find out what they need. Give them what they need. But I want you to know how to do it. All right? Go to the next one, Don. I think that's. Why does this strategy work? All right? It's the concept of money over time. That's all it is. It's just the fact that it does. So clearly you can see the first half of these payments is worth more than the second half of these payments. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly why. Let's go to the next one, Don. Okay. To reinforce, dollars today are worth more than dollars tomorrow. We're going to go back and say, all right, let's look at the original note. Determine what the present value is of the unpaid balance, the $56,793. The first half of those payments is 66 payments, correct? Because we had 132 of them. All right, 66. Going back to solving for the original note again. Present value of those 66 payments is $34,500. Right? I think the next slide takes me to what that, all right. The next one is, now I've got to take that unpaid balance, put it into future value. And I have to solve for the remaining 66 payments. That comes up to $22,000. That's the second half of that note. One was worth 34.
Is this based on just 7.5?
Yes. And the second 66 payments is worth 22. That's a 33% difference. Money today is worth more than money tomorrow. So when you have that payer paying you off, you say, thank you, because you just made money. You need to run it in your calculator and see how much your yield increases. Don't be afraid of them paying you off. All right? And I do that all the time to investors. Especially, the payer wants me to pay me off. That's terrible. I want to keep this 10% return. I said, run it in your calculator and tell me what the yield is if they pay it off in 3 years. They go, 17%? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Okay, now you're good, aren't you? That's what. So the first amount of money is always worth more than the remainder. Always. Unless you run Walter's model. And I like Walter's model. Because what is Walter doing? Walter's getting all his money up front. So his second half of payments is infinity.
Infinity return.
Infinity return. If you can work that one out. Yes.
Have you ever, when you're buying, let's say it's a 20-year note, and you're buying the first half of it,
Yep.
have you ever made as part of the negotiations the option to buy the second half at the end of the 10 years?
I have not until I heard you. And you're absolutely right. Why does that have value?
Why not?
Why not? Why not take that option? How much money do you have in it by then? Zero.
And then it become another first, basically.
Well, no, you're just taking money on, you don't have any money in it. What is your return when you have zero and you're getting income? What is that return? Infinite. You can't even solve for it. It goes crazy. Your calculator goes, what?
And then you get,
Yeah.
then you get discounted from there because you're going to renegotiate.
Or you can find someone sitting at a 4, 5, 6% return and you can help them out, can't you? Because, yeah.
Yeah, please.
All right, so there's always the deal beyond the deal, right? So you make a deal today and you're planting the seed that you're going to buy the rest of the deal later. I do that all the time.
He does that, yeah.
When I sell a house, it's usually when you're buying, you can get a future. When you're showing up with cash, you're planting a seed like, yeah, if you ever need money, I'm the guy that you'll liquidate it to.
Yeah.
I also do that when I'm selling to the workforce housing that I do. I say, look, part of this is I need a right of first refusal if you're ever going to sell it. Well, if you need to liquidate, I'm your guy. And I do that all the time. Like 4 or 5 times a year, I sell a house. They want a better house, another house. Who do they call? Me. Because I got the right of first refusal. And you might want to say, now what's the difference between an option and a right of first refusal? They're very different animals. And so maybe we can talk about that a little bit. But going back to the example, if you had a 20-year note and you figured out how to buy the first 10 years of payments, linking the right of first refusal to buy the next, if they ever want to sell it. Yeah, contractually linking.
Yep.
So if you ever sell it, I get a shot at it. Or I have the right to buy it at the end of the 10 years. So there's two different things. One is locking in the note holder. The other one is if you ever want to sell it.
Right. Locking in the sense If you ever want to have this, go to someone else, you need my permission to do. Is that what you're?
Yeah, well, a right of first refusal means if you ever want to sell it at whatever price, I got the first right after somebody's made you an offer.
Right.
Or if you hadn't made an offer, I'll come in and make you an offer. That's a very easy thing to do. As a matter of fact, you could do that on almost every transaction you do. Hey, if you ever sell it, just give me a shot at buying it back. That's not a hard thing to get.
And in practice, buying partials, I would say 60 to 75% of the time, they come back to you before and sell you the rest of it. So to me, like buying a partial is already an
Built in.
option for the rest of it. So most of the time they're going to come back because who else is going to buy it behind me when I'm holding the paperwork? Like Sabrina says, I shouldn't. No one's going to.
Yeah.
I'm the only buyer.
And you're familiar with the property, you're familiar with the payer, you got all of that. All right, so, okay, go. All right, you're done. I'm almost done. I just wanted you to see that that's the magic of that calculator. That's what you're learning how to use it for. Is so that you can use something like Walter talked about. And do you know that's a good deal for you? Why do you know? Run the calculator, run those yields and figure out if that works for you. Because each one of us has a different criteria. Mine is keeping my Roth IRA funds working at a rate that I don't have to hit principal. I don't want to go out and do a hammer anymore. I don't need to do that. I used to do that. I just want the income coming in. So I can travel and see Dawn when I want to. And I can go visit Quincy if I want to, hug Quincy. Yeah. So that's all. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Let me see if there's. No, I guess not. Okay. No, and I will get you guys. A couple of people you asked about a tax attorney I use. I will get you that information and put it on the back part of these slides so that when Don distributes it, you have it. Okay. All right. So anyway, hopefully you got something from this. Hopefully you understand discounting. That's the whole purpose. Okay.